Good. Alright, hi. My name is August, and I'm gonna be streaming, I'm gonna be reading Vermis. This is Old Curses and Buried Horrors. So this is an official guide to Vermis. And if you don't know, this is, I believe, the second book, could be wrong, for this story. So, let's get started. Vermis. Old Curses and Buried Horrors. Okay, I believe this is the third book. Not a wave, not a breeze. 4 brothers materialize against a coastal sky. 4 shadows rise from the cold waters without making a noise. Cloaked in a dense fog, the figures approach, intending to proclaim their grim message. The lost soul wanders through the sand with soaked feet and lungs drenched in salt and blood. Something hath been broken, and it must be mended. Brother, behold the dead man's silvered Eve. Its gaze is hollow. No, it is staring at the floor, beseeching a miracle. A debt, an augury. 4 brothers through land and sea. 4 shadows vanish into the room with the promise of returning. The spirit. Souls are that which inhabit the flesh. Every human is born with their own soul, that tends to dim as their body withers. Souls can also be forcibly removed from their bodies, corrupted, or even consumed by other beings. The soul is the cornerstone of human nature. That which no longer possesses the soul cannot be considered a human anymore. For the rooted spirit, rooted spirits can easily form bonds with other peers. They normally possess notable strength, and their feelings weigh heavily on their actions. Flowing spirit. Flowing spirits are strongly linked with mysticism. They usually feel inclined to the gathering of knowledge, but their strength lies not with their bodies. Their flesh is dispensable. The lost relic. A nameless body withers within the depths of a mausoleum. It lies next to its precious treasures, which consoles it through its long journey to nowhere. Among dust and cobwebs rests the relic, unstained, unbroken, a remembrance of another time. Pick the relic and receive its blessings. King's Ring. A bronze ring that allows its wearer to change their face. To do so, they must stare at the ring in complete darkness for 1 hour. The ring can only mimic the faces of those who have worn it at some point. Blue Star Necklace. An elegant silver necklace set with a deep blue gemstone. The necklace shines a pale light that guides its wearer through the path they must follow. The light dying means the wearer has reached their destination, or is moving away from it. Singular bone. A peculiar vertebrae of unknown origin. It is slightly worn to the touch. The bone will bring good or ill fortune upon its bearer, depending on the nature of their acts. Beware the states that could damage flesh and mind. Paralysis. infestation, dread, bewitchment, nausea, poison, bedazzlement, weakness, wrath, bleeding, punishment, insanity. Pawn Knight. Dexterous warrior from the puddled lands, having trained under extreme sensory deprivation, he can perceive his surroundings through water ripples. The Pawn Knights are part of an elite dedicated to the protection of the Tree of Fittith. Flesh Eater, a being that rejoices in the suffering of others and delights its palate with human flesh. Humanity was stripped from it, and many others of its kin, having been treated like and trained as a filthy beast since birth, but eventually embraced this imposed nature and distanced itself from the humans around it. Son of the Thunder. Rudites of the natural forces. He channels the immense power of the storms through his body. The sons of the thunder are forged by the faith and teachings of the Father of Light, a higher being believed to control the heavens and all that comes from them. Blackbone Walker, old guardian of a fallen fort who wanders without directions or purpose, an agile and stealthy warrior who excels at laying ambushes. During their glory days, Blackbone's spears were feared by nearby kingdoms, for they were believed to be responsible for the assassinations of many important figures. Wax Warlock, a bottomless well of knowledge, dexterous in many sorceries such as enchantments, invocations, and pyromancies. Despite their overwhelming power, the wax warlocks are frail elderly beings, only shielded by their wax mantle. Tortured beast, a pitiful soul condemned to an eternal fight against its most primal instincts. Under the yoke of his curse, he has devoured all whom he loved. Yet his thirst is still far from quenched. As he roams the streets, a mutual gaze is all it takes to stir up the beast's desire for blood. Wood Witch, a practitioner of the dark arts who walks in communion with nature. Unlike their malevolent distant kin, these sylvan hags hold on to their humanity, since they refuse to partake in the flesh of infants. Despite this, they too are persecuted and hunted in just the same fashion. Green Sun Swordsman, a goblin of unheard of prowess and discipline, the very qualities that are oh so lacking among his kin. Blessed by their beloved lady and mentor, the Green Sun Swordsman played a key role in the fall of a tyrannical reign. Great honors and responsibilities were bestowed upon those who survived the ordeal. Think about which one is your favorite. I like the Green Sun Swordsman myself. Acquireman, preacher of the word of Corvus, who has transcended humanity to better serve its faith. The Acquiremen dwell in monasteries, where their main task is to teach the holy writings to neophytes. They also often visit the churches of Dorvis. You see Dorvis? My apologies. To officiate sacred ceremonies. Testament Knight, a bodyguard whose devotion knows no bounds. He bears the weight of his master's death in both his mind and on his shoulders, carrying his grave in perpetual mourning while he awaits the day when he can serve him once more. He has crossed through countless lands and battlefields in search of a cure for his liege. Despite his fruitless endeavors, his will was never wavered. Foul Soul, a former conscript condemned to the forever lost among its filthy walls. Broken are those who unearth from the sick bellows, now beasts among men, driven by primal desires, they prowl free under the veil of night. Bell Mage, a court illusionist, an enchanter that displays his glamours for the delight of its nobility. Throughout history, amid applause and laughter, many of these dazzling tricksters have covertly influenced the judgment of the elite, guiding their decisions to benefit their own interests. Marionettist, an artisan and enchanter who bestows fake life upon his creations. Masters of manipulation, marionettist craft effigies that obey their every command. However, there exists a limit to their abilities. They must remain concentrated in order to control their puppets. Tales speak of great marionettists of legend capable of commanding entire armies. Prisoner, an old captive who has found freedom within the confines of its prison. Plague missionary, a necrotic apostle who wishes to share with all the gift that has been bestowed upon him. The plague missionaries come from Greeman, a vile village tainted by an ancient disease that, in despair, many ended up revering as holy. So, we're going to take a look at some of the stats. Pawn Knight. The water that half fills the helmet of a Pawn Knight serves as their guide, for the warriors have honed an aquatic sense and can feel and interpret the water vibrations created by their surroundings. They can detect an approaching enemy from far away, but only as long as they are on the same ground as them. Drowned Shield. A porous stone shield that constantly weeps water, especially the closer it gets to a body of fresh water. Flower of Fittith. A fetish carved from the trees of Fittith. It emits a motherly and comforting aura that can calm the surface of any freshwater body it is placed on, making it as smooth as a mirror. The Loathsome Flesh Eater. Flesh eaters are considered subhuman creatures. They are treated with disdain and trained like dogs. These vicious individuals find great joy in the most vile forms of torture. They devour their captives slowly, cauterizing their wounds to make sure they stay alive for as long as possible. Butcher's Kiss. A grimy and rusty mace to flay the skin, crush the bone, and tender the meat. Tongue Cage. A brass sheath. It's nailed to the tongue of a flesh eater to prevent it from talking. Smaller orifices allow the passage of fluids so not to deprive it of tasting the flesh of its victims. Son of the Thunder. The Sons of the Thunder can invoke devastating thunderstorms through a rigorous channeling ritual. For days on end, they stay completely still, with both arms wide open, calling the storms until they hear its reply. Their copper robes and helmets let electricity flow through their bodies and allows them to control it with ease. Stormweaver. A light copper staff that can guide, absorb, and shoot lightning bolts. While charged, it can electrocute enemies with a mere touch. Supplicant Finger. A copper rod capable of attracting and storing lightning. They are often left half buried in high places and collect after a storm has passed through the area. Blackbone Walker. After the great Blackbone fort fell, along with its lord, the Blackbone Spears who survived the massacre lost all will and reasons for being, since serving and protecting their master had the sole goal since childhood. Sorry, So, since serving and protecting their master had been their sole goal since childhood, having failed their mission, they now roam the lands without purpose, questioning their very existence. The Blackbone Spear. A spear of blackbone, a material extracted from the charred bones of an old god. It's extremely durable and light ablaze if it's struck against rock or metal. Blackbone Ash. A belt pouch that contains some of the incinerated ashes of an old god. This dust absorbs so much light, and anyone coated with it can perfectly blend with the shadows around them. Wax Warlock. The Wax Warlock's hunger for the occult is legendary. They are able to effortlessly memorize endless spells thanks to their second skin, making them living libraries. The rare wax that coats their heads was rendered from the fat of the fallen giant in days of old. It melts at such a slow pace that its decay is imperceptible to mortal eyes. Golden Wax. A thick stone-like layer of wax that prevents memories from escaping the head it covers. Candle Staff. A wax-coated staff tipped with a candle that can be lit or snuffed by thought alone. Neither breeze nor gale can extinguish its flame, making it very useful for casting pyromancies. Tortured Beast. Oh, please, I beg thee, show some mercy. For once I was like thee, I wish not for this life. Tears trickle down the beast's muzzle as it tears into the silky skin of the maiden with each bitter gulp of blood. The implacable beast is further calmed. Soon it sinks into slumber once more, freeing the man who lies within it, confined behind sharp fangs and dark fur. Curse of the Beast. A curse of eternal hunger that only human flesh can sate. It transforms its bearer into a bloodthirsty beast that always succumbs to its grotesque desire. Beast's Rosary. A bundle of rags from the clothes of the beast's victims. A collection of tormenting memories kept as a futile act of atonement. Wood Witch. Akin to the followers of Murgo, the sea god, wood witches hold green baptisms, torturous rituals by which the souls of witchlings become permanently entangled with the forest life force. Despite what it might seem, wood witches are neither true disciples of Murgo nor real witches. They walk a thin line, flirting with both the powers of nature and devilry. Witch Visage. A handcrafted mask in the likeness of a true witch. A garment mostly used to infiltrate covens and attend sabbaths. Mandrake Root. The grotesquely humanoid root of a wicked magical plant. It will scream in agony if bitten into, causing those who hear it to shudder in fear. It is placed in a cradle. It will slowly morph into the form of a newborn, a trick used by true witches to discreetly snatch their next meals. The Green Sun Swordsman. The goblins, with the tenacity to fight against their cowardly nature, and the will and skill to become masters of the blade, were awarded the title of Green Sun Swordsman, a distinction only few achieved. After their last battle, these valiant warriors were proud to become the Aegis of the new kingdom. Honor Restraints. A small, yet heavy medal of green green lead, a reminder of resolution. Announcing it would invite savagery back into the former wearer. Wishing pot. A stone vessel, plastered with runes, a miniature version of the great well of the kingdom. It is believed that wishes that are successfully tossed into it will be granted. It is custom to use it before battle. Choirman. In recognition of their eternal devotion, the choirmen of Dorvis have been blessed with their choral voices. It is said of the songs of the choirmen that they speak directly to the souls of men, but less known is the fact that they can hold power over them as well. You have experienced the most acrid of their tunes, however, for they are reserved for their foes alone and only to be sung in moments of great desperation. The World of Dorvis, a transcription of the holy book that arranges the spoken teachings of the God of Truth. Within it lies the music that the choirmen recite to praise Dorvis and indoctrinate the masses. Blessed Censer, a heavy incensory used in rituals and purification, filled with mind-muddling herbs that ease the way for the songs of the choirmen. It can double up as a flail if words fail to convince. Testament Night. I feel thy tender presence beneath the stone, my lord, the regal gaze following mine every step. Never shall I leave thee behind, if my fate truly is to forever carry such a noble figure. I shall call myself blessed. Can you hear me, my lord? I beg thee, grant me just a few more of your words. Liege's deathbed, a large flat stone upon which lies a petrified body frozen in eternal beauty. He holds a dagger firmly in his hands. Basilisk tears, the bottled tears of a baleful beast said to possess the petrifying properties. In truth, they are a deadly poison. Foul soul. Deep underground, where neither light nor law is welcome, are cast the prisoners of the capital. Abandoned to their luck, they formed the forlorn tunnels of a Hypogean city. Blood, death, and decay have twisted the minds of all who dwell, turning them into unholy creatures, prisoners of their instincts. Rusted shackles. A pair of grimy shackles fused to flesh in a purulent wound, the stigma of a wicked rebirth. Petite doll. Crafted out of small bones and tufts of hair, this small doll brings solace to a broken soul, but malaise to all others. Those who stay close to it will soon grow weak from illness. Bell Mage. A bell mage's magic is that of the senses. As performers, they mostly use it to enhance their stories, making their public behold marvelous sights, hear songs from faraway lands, and smell and taste delicacies they will crave for the rest of their lives. Considered to be little more than buffoons by most scholars of sorcery, bell mages have to rely much more on their wits than other wizards, given how limited their powers are. Illusionary bell, a tool of deceit. Those who hear it fall deep into the illusory narrative woven by the bell mage. A second ring frees them from the spells. Sensory masks. A set of iron masks that fit around the necklace worn by the bell mage. Each one of them represents a different sense, and allows its wearer to create illusions based on that sense. Wearing fewer masks allows the bell mage to focus on specific senses, resulting in more powerful illusions. Marionettist. Many marionettists bond their puppets to certain individuals in order to mimic their skills and mannerisms. Some even go as far as to dabble in the art of illusionism to grant their puppet an actual semblance of life, often to deceive. In the hands of a master, a puppet can become a deadly warrior, a dexterous thief, or even a passionate lover. Wooden sibling. A ligneous twin crafted in the likeness of its marionettist. Within it has a bone of its master, allowing them to share their eyes and ears. It obeys any written orders that are inserted into it. Mocking heart. An affront of humanity and the first step toward perpetual pseudo-life. Prisoner. While most abide by the law of many and are trapped in the prisons of their minds, there are a rare few who are the true owners of their fate. With these individuals, reality itself is a construct of man, a fickle thing that perspective can bend. Within the confines of a cage, one can become the only free person in the world, while all the others rot behind bars. Cage. The entire world fits within it. Plague missionary. Invisibly and silently, the foul influence of Greenman spreads far and wide across the land, thanks to its devout missionaries who consecrate their lives to the eternal pilgrimage. Many times throughout history has ruin befallen the cursed village, brought by the hand of those who have attempted to eradicate its malady once it becomes clear to them that no cure would ever be found. Yet the walls of Greenman are always rebuilt. Twisted and scarred, the village now resembles those who in it dwell. Maggot bag. A bag of infested larvae to spoil food and water. For the people of Greenman, no nourishment can be found in unrotted victuals. Calamity jar. A large clay urn, firmly sealed for the gift of Greenman, lies within it. Uncorking the jar unleashes the plague, laying waste all around it. Once emptied, it must be refilled by Greenman. Vermis. Okay. Well, that's the end of that first chapter. If you enjoy this video and reading, please let me know. Please maybe send me a like, maybe subscribe, and follow me on Twitch. And